like, I think that's really important to have someone in your life that kind of like has such ability to influence you that you have to break down your ego.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And I think everyone should have someone like that, you know, like it's a good friend who can be, you know, who opens your mind, so to say. Oh yeah, the heads. I think initially that's like that's obviously stemming from Daft Punk with like the original helmet persons or whatever you want to call that. Yeah, I love acupuncture. I'm such a sucker for that. Like, especially if I can be specific, Japanese acupuncture.
Yeah. Hi, this is Lauren Engel of Sidewalk. Talk to them here with Cassette.
What's up? What's up? Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you. So you're born in Sweden?
Yes, that's correct.
And your parents are from there as well?
Yes, I'm very as Swedish as it gets. But I lived here now for 2 years. But I guess I've been working in the States for 7 or so. So I feel pretty used to the like American environment by now.
American culture.
Yeah.
What do your parents do?
My mom is like a boss for a logistics company thing, or she like directs parts of Europe for a big like logistics company.
Oh.
And my dad, he runs his own businesses, so he's kind of like an entrepreneur.
Like what type of business?
He was in like commercial like media for a while, like doing commercials, not like TV commercials, but like it's a weird Swedish thing where companies could like sign up to have like, what do you even call this, like things you put on your desk, like little frames, like people don't have that anymore, but like to write on.
Oh, I
to
think
protect the desk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So that he did that for the longest time.
Oh wow.
But now he doesn't do that anymore. But that was kind of like me growing up. That was what he did, and that was his own company. And he did really well for himself with that somehow.
Oh.
I don't know how though.
Probably
like,
because it's so niche, right?
now, yeah, now it sounds really, really like foreign and like old. I understand that, but at the time it was working really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think you got your creative side from?
I think I hit my head when I was young, seriously. My parents always encouraged me with music, but they didn't really. My mom plays a little bit of piano, and my dad, he used to play the saxophone a little bit, but like, or trumpet actually. But it wasn't like enough that it would like influence me as a kid or anything. That we didn't have a piano at home.
Oh, were they even playing music in the house?
No. I mean, my dad played a lot of music in the house, as I remember it. He played a lot of music, like Michael Jackson, and then also a lot of like terrible like like trance and like rave from back then. Yeah, he really liked that stuff.
Your dad's an EDM guy.
Well, yeah, he was the original EDM guy. Yeah, before
like...
EDM existed, he was playing a lot of like that stuff. But yeah,
your dad's a tastemaker.
We can go here. Yeah, we'll take this. Yeah, tastemaker. Yeah, way ahead of his time. So I guess that's kind of why. I mean, that lingered with me from an early age. So that's kind of.
But you didn't really play any instruments, did you?
No, I did not. I wish now I really miss it as a producer. Like, I miss having that knowledge of like just automatically knowing what chord I can put after the next, and because I still just go by ear and whatever feels right. So I'll sit in the studio one day and I'll make something, and then I'll come back the next day and I'll be like, what even is this, you know? But hey, trial and error, and then, you know, after a while you just get the hang of it.
Yeah. How do you describe yourself back then growing up?
I think I was pretty shy. I always been a little shy. Kind of like I liked my computer stuff. Like, that's I think also why I started, like, in the beginning it was also fun for me to produce, because it was like learning a new like language, and like I could just spend a lot of time trying to like with myself trying to become a better producer. It wasn't very social. It was kind of like it was very like computer driven, and like I could stay in and I could do that. I always liked technology and stuff like that. So I think that's a part of why I started out. But then, you know, of course you also have that like crazy like musical drive that that's what gets me going now. Now I don't care so much anymore about the technical stuff. I would not be able to like walk and film at the same time.
Oh, I've gotten so many.
I can barely do my Instagram stories. It's like a challenge for me. Like I need a team for that. But it's yeah.
Did you like school?
School was okay. I was pretty bad. I was pretty slow in the beginning. But I picked up. I started like I noticed I was like not progressing as well as I wanted to, which was weird for like a 14-year-old to kind of realize.
Yeah, I'm like thinking like.
Yeah, I don't really know how that happened, but I was just like like this isn't really going so well. Like my grades weren't great, and like there was also like I hung out with some like cool kids, and they had pretty bad influence, I guess. So I don't know. After a while, I just like I started like just sitting with the smarter kids, and that worked out great for me.
That's a tip.
Because the weird thing, I was still like kind of like I still hung out with all the cool people, but I was also friends with like the smart people. So that kind of like that was really good for me at the time. I still like to this day I like all of them. Like I'm not, you know, I don't have any enemies, but it was just kind of funny how that worked out, because like I don't know if I could teach a kid to make that decision by like if I could do that today, you know?
Yeah.
To just like get the best of both worlds. Because you know, I was just kind of in between the whole time, which is smooth.
Did your parents push you to study?
I mean, yeah, they did, but it wasn't crazy. At least I didn't experience. I mean, at the time I thought it sucked, like, but now I realize that some parents can be like way stricter, and I think I had it pretty, like it was pretty easy for me.
Before music, did you have some like career path that you think that you would be good for? Or your parents wanted you to do?
No, my parents always, like I'm very fortunate in that way. Like my parents always kind of, as long as they told me like basically as long as I can pay my bills, I can do whatever I like.
That's so chill.
So yeah, that's very chill. And also again, like I realized that so many people are brought up in a different way, so it's very fortunate. But yeah, no, I didn't really. I was always into creativity somehow. So I think at some point I wanted to be like a radio host.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'd really like to do that. And I still think it's kind of fun, the whole concept of it. Just like, you know, talk, and then again, I didn't really realize that that's so like combined with DJing as well at the time. Because now you can like, you know, there's so many podcasts and also all these like radio hosts also programs the shows and decides what music is being played. So, you know, maybe I just hadn't understood yet that I wanted to be a DJ instead of a radio host.
How did you even find producing in the first place? Like, were your peers or people around you like making music?
No, that was kind of. So this is something that I've like. I don't know if this has happened to you, but like I sometimes I find myself like remembering things that I thought was forever lost. Like I can get like these like flashes, and it's like whoa, like I completely forgot about that. So actually, when I was like 12 or something, I was on a bus from one side of Sweden to the other, and I was talking to this guy, and he showed me Fruity Loops, or he told me about Fruity Loops, which is the program that I work in. I mean, it's called FL Studio now, but whatever. He told me about that. I completely didn't do anything with that information. 2 years later, when I was 14 or 14, 15, something like that, I started working out of that program because I don't know, I saw something online and I could just like, I don't know, it just connected, and I just like downloaded a program and started experimenting. And the music was so awful, like you wouldn't believe it. Like,
what did it sound? Was it like dubstep or?
No, it wasn't even. Look, it wasn't even a genre. It was just like sound, because I didn't have any musical training, and I wasn't like a natural. I wouldn't say like I had a natural talent for it either. Like the first year was like it wasn't even music. It was just like different sounds on top of each other. Like rhythm was also way off. So I thought it was pretty crazy how just like I heard like this one dude talk about it on a bus when I was 12, and then like later on this is what I do professionally now, so it's weird.
So how did the duo form initially?
So initially when I was studying up north in Sweden is when Cassette was formed. So I went to university for musical engineering, or musical technical engineering. I was there, it was up north in Sweden, it was cold, it was dark, it was kind of boring. And the school was good though, but I don't know, I think I was partying a little bit too much. And then I was like, oh man, I'm kind of, again, you know, I felt that I was kind of like wasting time. So I think Sebastian contacted me through MySpace, and we started just like throwing ideas at each other and started working together.
Oh, so you already had like a profile and everything, and then he...
Yeah, I had like my own solo stuff. It was not very good.
Do you remember your name?
I think I was like... What was that? I think I was either called Push and Rewind or Alexander Björk, which is kind of... Alexander Björk is not... I mean, that's basically my name.
Yeah, I'm like...
But I don't know if that's even out there. So Seb and I started working together, and we pretty quickly felt that we had like something good going. Because like, I don't know, we had a good workflow. Like we were able to like finish songs, and they sounded decent, and it went by pretty... Like we did it pretty quickly.
So it was all originals back then?
Yeah, it was all originals. And then we felt that we needed like... We felt that we had something, and we both wanted to be artists or you know, be professional musicians. So we like contacted different like labels and managers, and we talked to different people.
How old were you like at this point?
I was probably like 20.
Okay. Or
so. Yeah, something like that. And yeah, that's when we came in contact with Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was our manager for a long time, and you know, he helped build Cassette.
Like, how was he helping you get your music out there initially?
Like, he had all the connections that you could like ever want, and you know, he was also really good at A&Ring and at the time find what was working for us and like, you know, set us on a musical path. So everything just seemed to be falling into place there, and we put a lot of good music out, which is like also a big part of why things were working out. Like at the time we were experimenting with a lot of sounds that were still kind of like underground at the time. Like it was just like EDM had just started to kind of like bubble, you know, and festivals were growing and growing, and like people wanted higher and higher energy, and like we were there at the time to match that. And then Seb and I, we were getting a little over it, unfortunately, like because we'd been making very high energy music for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't say unfortunately, by the way, everything worked out beautifully, but like there was like a certain mismatch where we had built a crowd that was like a little bit more bass oriented.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden we like kind of fell in love with like deep house and just like house music that were a little bit more toned back, and less like, I don't know, just less aggressive, and we changed a lot as persons too, and grew, you know, like anyone does, like, and suddenly that's like aggressive house music didn't really fit us anymore, and the dubstep influences kind of became outdated quickly, and we wanted to move on, so that's what we did.
Yeah.
And about then is when like Desserts came out, our EP, and with tracks like Sleepless and Together and Blind Heart, you could tell that like something had changed in us. So
because you had like a deal before that, right? And then you like canceled that deal.
Yeah, there's been many, like a lot of stuff like that going on in our careers where like we've been tied down to certain deals, arrangements. I think it's pretty standard in music. Like I think it's a necessary like stepping stone as an artist. Like if you're gonna look at your career longer than like a career. I mean, at least for me, like I look at my career as my life. So to like make a few deals that maybe aren't ideal for you, I think is kind of like standard. You know, like it's the same as being a kid and hitting your knee, and the next day you won't hit your knee in whatever that, you know, caused you the pain. All in all, like I'm really happy the way everything has been like playing out, and I'm really excited to like now be in a position where we're gonna put out more music, because that's something that we've been doing all these years, going through these different like personal changes and like also like just musical influences, you know, and finally finding home a little bit in a way.
And actually, like going back a bit, how big was Avicii when you first met with like Ash and became part of his team?
He just started blowing up then, so yeah, so it was a really exciting time for everyone, I think, you know, because it just exploded, you know, and it was crazy, and we're super grateful for it being a part of his journey and such. Like that was great.
Are you still in like communication with Ash after Avicii's passing, or?
We haven't really talked. No.
Yeah.
No, it's been, I don't know. I think everyone is dealing with it in their own ways, and that's all acceptable. You know, everything is okay.
Have you gotten close to Avicii like throughout those years when you were?
I knew Tim, but I mean, of course, when we're like under the same management. Like we get to know each other like very well, but like I don't know. It came as a big surprise to me. His passing. It was very sad.
What about Seb's personality that you realized you wanted to be in a duo with him?
Seb, to me, is a great. Like he's an inspiration. Like he really is. He like he has this very. He has this drive, and he can. I love how he always shows me things I didn't knew existed, and he talks about them so passionate, like with such a passion that you can't help but to like you wanna go after it. You know, you wanna be like, okay, wait, maybe I should try it. And he's basically the only person that has that influence on me. So, and that's such a cool quality, because, you know, like we can talk on the phone and he tells me about something and then he talks about it for 45 minutes. And then I go like, yeah, but you know, that's not really like how I think of myself. And then all of a sudden, like, wow, I was so wrong. Like, this is amazing. So I think that I think that's really important, to have someone in your life that kind of like has such ability to influence you that you have to break down your ego. I really like that. And I think everyone should have someone like that, you know, like it's a good friend who can be, you know, who opens your mind, so to say. Because that's what you need always, like to need to open your mind.
And was it surprising to you? Was it 2016 where he decided he didn't really want to tour anymore?
That didn't really came as a shock to me. We were so close. Being on the road together is one thing, but we were also really good, and still is, like, we're very good friends. So it wasn't a surprise to me at all. It felt natural. I was aware how touring made him feel, and he was well aware how touring made me feel, and he's more of a producer personality. He likes that more than he does touring. So it was kind of natural that we said that, for us at least, it felt very like, look, man, like, you love playing shows. I love, like, the producing part of it. I'm like, the traveling is getting to me, and like, we kind of just wanted to do what's best for both of us. So we found a solution where we can still work together, and still keep all the fun that our relationship is, and also maintain the focus of it, which is creativity. So he did that, and I then took care of like the spotlight, so to say.
And then actually going back, like, what were your inspirations back then for the cassettes?
Oh yeah, the heads. I think initially that's like that's obviously stemming from Daft Punk with like the original helmet persons or whatever you want to call that. For us, it was a problem because they kept causing a lot of stress on tour. So it became very like difficult.
Like losing it, or?
Yeah, like they would get lost in costumes, or sometimes like.
I wonder Marshall probably has like 5.
Yeah, like like stuff just kept on happening that instead of us being excited to perform with them, which is how it should have been, we were kind of just like stuck in this negative loop of like, oh, they're not, you know, they're never working, they keep breaking. Fans kept on, you know, getting disappointed because we were also disappointed because we like.
Oh, because they wanted to see the helmets.
They don't want to see the helmets, and we wanted to use them, but you know, we spent so much money on trying to get like to find like a sustainable solution, but unfortunately, like it never worked out.
Do you think looking back it helped with your branding purposes with your fans?
I think they're like, as far as a management decision, like that was definitely a branding, but for a branding decision. But for us as artists, all we cared about was to put on a good show and to make like a memorable like night for the people who come out, and that's still my like that's why I keep on doing it too, because like I love being there in a room with people who I never met, and I just connect with them through music, and I show a part of myself and see them dance to that. It's beautiful.
And then when did you sign with PRMD, the label?
So PRMD was founded basically by At Night, or previous management. So that was also around the time we put out Sleepless and Blind Heart and those songs. I don't remember specifically what year that was, unfortunately. Let's just say a while ago. But yeah, we've been working with them now for a long time, and like we have a lot of exciting music coming out still on that label. So
yeah, like the EP, right?
Yeah, exactly. So our new EP, Stereo Mono, was supposed to come out this 17th of August, which is only in a few days. But
that's today, right?
Is it? Yeah, it's today. Damn, you're right. That's crazy. It's today, but unfortunately, during certain circumstances, it has now been delayed like a week or so.
How about the inspiration?
Everything was like ready to go. We just had like a minor hiccup with some things, but it's all cleared out. We're having like very excited collaborations on it.
Oh, nice.
With Parson James and
I just interviewed him.
Yeah.
He's
really?
awesome.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, you did some stuff with him before.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's gonna be on there, and we also are now working on a track with Brando, who just put out a song with Loud Luxury, that body track.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm good friends with Loud Luxury too. He's fantastic guys, and Brando too totally killed it on that one. So we're super excited to be making something with him as well.
What would you say have been? What are the inspirations for it?
We got a car. Oh no. Inspirations for the EP.
Yeah.
So like I was talking about before, like it's been like a lot of years of like experimenting with different things, like different sounds and such, genres and tempos and everything. But I feel like with Stereo Mono, for me, was to like find a way kind of back into like the groovy house music that I listened to kind of even before Cassette was formed. So it's a pretty personal EP in that sense, which I think is a lot of fun. It's been like great creating that and trying to tap into that source of creativity that far back in time, but kind of making it sound modern at the same time. So it's very like groovy, like vocal driven house music, something that's not so foreign to people who've been following Cassette, but I feel like it's just like an uplifted version of what's been, and so I'm really excited for it to come out soon.
Yeah, same. And have you always been interested in acupuncture? I think you said in like a previous interview.
Yeah, I love acupuncture. I'm such a sucker for that. Like, especially if I can be specific, Japanese acupuncture has been like a game changer for my life.
What about it?
No, like I just like for certain like physical issues. Like I went like 2 times, and it just blew my mind. Like there was one time where like I couldn't move my right leg, and the guy just went boop, and he tried to move it, and it didn't move, and then he just went like this on the needle, and the leg just like fully opened.
No way.
So like after that, I was just like, you know what, like this is amazing. And then since then, I've just been like all about it.
Is it like a routine thing now?
No, unfortunately not. I just moved here, so I haven't like found my like spots yet, which kind of sucks. But I will find a spot, and yes, it will happen often.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
My biggest challenges has definitely been finding balance in life, in music generally, but also in life. I think when you start touring at a fairly young age and things are going like really well, and you meet a lot of people, and you're everywhere, I think it can be a little overstimulating, and I think it kind of takes time to kind of grasp what is going on, like both in your career but also in your life. So my biggest challenge is like just to kind of like it was never bad or anything, but I just like to kind of ground myself and kind of figure out what matters to me as a person and as an artist, and that has been my biggest challenge, and I'm still like working on it. I guess it's an ongoing process, but I feel like overall I have a bigger perspective and a perspective now, and also like an actual vision of where I want to be. So that helps a lot, instead of just like doing a bunch of stuff all the time, or just doing what people are telling you to do, at least what you think that you're supposed to be doing. Kind of, slow down and like really like feel what's going on, and see and be just more aware of what is happening in your life. I think it's very easy to get distracted when you're like a touring artist.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my challenge. That's my number one. But besides that, I don't know. Yeah. Now eat a pizza a whole pizza in one sitting. Can't do it anymore.
Can't do it. What does love mean to you?
Love?
Yeah.
Such a good quote. I read in some book. Was it like by some From dude? I don't remember the name, unfortunately. But love to me now is to not objectify things, or persons for that matter. I think that love is a state of being and not something you feel for a person, or like whatever. I think love is wider and bigger than just. To me, I always thought that it meant like you love someone or something, or you love how something makes you feel, but there's a problem with that, is that that's focused on like one thing, and that means that it's, what's the word, circumstantial?
Based on the circumstances.
Yeah, exactly. It's based on the circumstances, and I think that love, to me now, is more of a state of. It's a constant state of mind. So I like that.
I really like that.
Yeah, I think it helped me a lot in many situations, actually.
Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
Well, if I can be remembered for love, that would be fantastic. I'd like that. Yeah, I think that answers it, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, what else? I don't know what else matters, really.
Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.